Many of us are willing to give our eternities to a concept of God that was presented to us by the ancient Israelites. Forget about eternity for a moment. Imagine a world in which our lives in the here and now are dictated by a government that acts exactly like this God. There is a vote first, of course. Technically, there is a choice, but somehow the election results in a nearly unanimous victory. That is the final election. You cannot have any other administrations before this one. Henceforth, the government is well aware of all your private communications and activity. Federal video cameras are everywhere, even in bedrooms and bathrooms. Not a single moment of your life will go unseen, from conception to death. Simply seeing what you're up to is not enough. The government must know every facet of your mind, so all citizens have a chip implanted in their head at birth. This chip monitors whether or not you have any illegal thoughts. Due to all this surveillance and thought monitoring going on, at least you're safe from crime, right? Well, not so fast. Surveillance is only used to determine guilt, but neither interventions nor preventative measures are ever taken. You see, as a good person, you don't have much to worry about from the government, but you do have a lot to worry about from people who aren't so good, because they don't have a lot to worry about from the government either. For though cameras and police are everywhere, when you or your loved ones are mugged, raped, or murdered, the police do nothing to stop the perpetrator even while present, because that would interfere with the criminal's free will. Criminals have to stand before a judge and answer for their crimes, sure, but all they have to do is apologize and sincerely ask for forgiveness, not of you, the victim, but of the judge, and the criminal is then set free. Should you entertain a thought of spite toward the person who killed your loved one, then it is you who will stand before the judge. If you cannot muster adequate shame, then it is you who will be punished. The sick and the poor beg the government for help, but the government's most reliable aid is reserved for the wealthy. During award ceremonies, you can usually spot professional athletes, award-winning actors, and musicians thanking the government for its generous welfare. Meanwhile, children are dying of preventable diseases, starvation, dehydration, and natural disasters without any relief that could be easily supplied by the government's virtually inexhaustible coffers. Coffers which are reserved for the welfare of the privileged few. This might seem unfair at first, but just realize that the government works in mysterious ways. Trust that the government has a good reason for funding mansions and swimming pools for some, but not food and water for others. It's all part of a classified plan, a greater plan. Above all, you're not allowed to talk bad about the government. Not only is that considered unpatriotic, but it's also illegal, unforgivable, and carries the most severe punishment of all. Isn't that odd? Your fellow citizens would also ostracize you, showing genuine contempt for you because you dared to be critical of your government. It's almost as if they fell in love with the chains that bind them. Fortunately, we live in the real world, where voters and elected officials take proper consideration before making decisions based on what they think God wants. So naturally, people wouldn't tolerate a government that did any of the things mentioned in this video, right? Right?